If you have a detail painting project coming up, you're going to want to know about these 3 paintbrushes. Hi, my name's Eric, and I've been working in the trades for over 20 years as a carpenter, woodworker, and handyman. Today, we're going to talk about paintbrushes. I've got some shutters to paint, and these are louvered shutters. That means there is a lot of details, a lot of holes, a lot of slits, a lot of slots, and all that. And that means painting with a regular paintbrush is quite time consuming and, let's just say, not a lot of fun. So, as I was getting to this part of the project, I was searching out different paintbrushes, and I had recently come upon one I will talk about later for doing some window trim, and it ended up just being a game changer. I discovered it through a Instagram page that does, this man does like classic historical window restoration somewhere in Europe. And he was painting with, well, we're going to get to that later. It just sent me down a rabbit hole of looking for different types of paintbrushes for different applications and uses. And I figured painting could probably be more enjoyable and probably end up with a better product at the end if you're using the right brush for the right job. So that starts us off, or we will start off with the triangle brush. This guy, absolute game changer for these louvered shutters. It just gets right into in between, leaving most of the bristles towards the back, but it still allows the thin ones to get towards the end. The nice thing about that, you don't end up with lots of extra paint and product on the interior, which then drips off the backside. It has been great for getting into different corners. It's also great for raised panel shutters like this one over here. This guy is one that I'm rebuilding. I'm rebuilding it because, well, that's why. You can stick your finger right through this. Gross. So we're rebuilding this one. Working on that inside the tent. But this, for raised panels, gets right into the corner. Also, getting right into that detail 45-degree angle, and so that you have brush strokes going down one way and then down the other way, and you don't have overlapping brush strokes, which looks so much better, so much more professional. I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm not a professional painter. I just play one on the internet and have to paint my own projects because I don't know any good painters. That's not true. I know one good painter, but he's busy. So, now I have to get rid of all this rot that I dumped all over this shutter so I can paint it. So I'm going to get to that, and let's get to painting. Get all this rot dust off of here and off the table. Dumping water. Oh my gosh. What a disaster. I'm a disaster today. Suspended above the table so that we don't have any drips that then create puddles that then create weird ends and you have to sand it. Alright, so we're going to use my favorite paint. Sherwin-Williams Emerald Urethane, which is a water-based, and it goes on so nicely, and it's so smooth and nice and thick, covers well, and just by far my favorite paint. so far. Not sponsored. This thing is just able to get right in there. I can get the full corner all the way from inside to back, and I'll actually go down and do a few of those, just get them ready. And then I'll come over to this side and do the same. You don't want it too wet of a brush. It's better to do multiple thin coats than one or two thick coats. It just looks better. Yeah, these sharp angles and details. The triangle brush. Try to keep your brush strokes going with the grain of the wood. This looks a little more professional, added level of care. And so while this brush is great for getting into these side corners and underneath the louvers, getting the end parts of this, this just doesn't really carry as much product paint on it as I would like. So for details like this and for curved things, I really like the round brush. So the round brush is nice because it holds a lot of paint. And I don't know if it's something about the domed structure of the end, but it releases very well. It just doesn't flop it all on there, and it ends up with some nice feathered edges. So for feathering things out, and what I really like it for on this project is the ends of these. Since it holds more, ends up getting the ends better, more evenly, less pooling and puddling. It does get back into the crevices some. So for a smaller detail stuff, where you still want to paint it fairly fast, I like this. Show you another nice aspect of this. If you're trying to cut into an edge or something, like some trim along a window of a house, it's really nice because you can actually roll the brush and keep fresh paint coming down on the edge you're cutting into. See how you're getting more product release there and less there? It actually is a pretty nice way of cutting in as long as you don't need the sharpest edge. For a really sharp edge, I still prefer a regular flat brush with an angle cut on it. But for this, I really enjoyed it. It carries a lot of paint. It makes a nice hand-painted look. It doesn't pool and puddle. So with a flat brush, you end up kind of, sometimes you have more product on the edges, so you end up with a kind of a bead. This, because you've got more bristles and then they kind of fan out, you end up with a nice feathered look. So yeah, this was just the cutting in of it like this, that product, fresh product, and obviously I've already painted this, so it's going down this edge. I can just roll the product into the edge like that. Nice and smooth. And then it's also these, just kind of really get it into some nice details. But see how it also kind of gets into all the cracks and crevices nicely. So that's really what I like this for. I've got all the louvers done. And this now brings us to our third brush because I'm going to paint this detail edge. Now let's be honest. Am I going to break out 3 paintbrushes to do this? No! I'm using 3 paintbrushes on this to show you guys the 3 different types of paintbrushes that I've found incredibly useful for different types of detail painting. Now, they all have their strengths and their weaknesses. Sometimes I will use 2 of them at a time. In this process, though, I would probably just use the triangle one. The rest of it I can take care of with that brush. But that being said, the third brush of the list is the square brush. So we've got triangle, round, and square. This guy's got a nice angle cut to it. It's not super square anymore, as I've used and abused it. This guy is great for little edges like this, small dental work, not this dental work, dental trim, ledges, edges, things with more hard angles. I was using this at first before I learned about the triangle brush because this long point got down into the louvers fairly well, but what ended up happening is that a lot of product ended up dripping off the backside, and that's where this really excels. So this guy, quite nice for getting into these little details without getting much on the other edges. So that's where this is nice. Yes, I can do that with either of these other brushes, although the ones with hard edges will work a little better. It's getting bright. The ones with hard edges and points will work better with trim and other pieces that have hard edges. Round works well with curved surfaces, but we'll still get into that back crevice. Well, and there you have it. So those are my top 3 paintbrushes for doing any sort of detailed work. Whether it's shutters, trim, an arts and crafts project, a fireplace mantle, you know, things like that. Anywhere where you've got a lot of nooks and crannies and crevices or curved surfaces for the round brush, one of these will serve you very well. So I'm going to put a link to all of these brushes down in the description. It is an affiliate link, so I'll make a couple of pennies off of this if you buy it. It won't cost you any more, but it does help me out a little bit with making these, and I am trying to do more of this and less of the on-site work. So that being said, if you are interested in continuing the conversation, hanging out with other people that are interested in this sort of thing, I'm actually starting a school community. School is a platform where you can put courses and have conversations with other people, and it's gamified. I haven't spent much time in there yet playing with it, but I just set it up. So if you guys want to hang out with other people that are interested in craftsmanship, conversations around tools, things like that, head on over to that school community, sign up. It's only $7 a month, and we'll continue all these conversations. You can ask questions. I'll probably make some special content there, maybe some courses, some how-tos, things like that. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video.